Go, 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 let's get it. I'm a trapping fanatic, that shit automatic, so I cannot turn it on or off. Bitches all on my dick, then she hop on my dick, I'm like, why you keep hopping on and off? Your bitch all on my dick, she be doing the most, I tell her, little bitch, you so extra. And my gun up on me, but not run up on me, niggas, they wanna fight, they some wrestlers.
Nico and Isagi lock eyes, making it so that he could feel the intensity from him. Seems like your plan didn't work at all. So now, what will you do? Isagi smirks, returning to the side of his field, where the game would reset. And as for the match, I don't think Team Y even stands a chance against Isagi and Team Z that has too many offensive players. When trying to stop them from getting the ball, the team can't, because Isagi can call out the passes before they even happen, making steals and plays for his team. Kira was also one to realize that Nico and Okawa were pulling the strings, so he man-marked him, stopping him from doing anything. As for the others, like Yoichi and Kunigami, as well as Kuon, they were their defensive anchors, not letting anything go through, with Isagi, Batra, and Chigiri taking hold of the offense to win the match. And yes, I say Chigiri here, as I previously stated that Isagi's intense training had a butterfly effect, mentally and also physically, on Team Z, meaning that Chigiri had returned to his normal playstyle, making his team even stronger. And since Team Z is also strong here, I don't think Kuon would betray them for the same reasons he did in canon. But let's make this interesting for them, as he betrays them for the sake of his own goals. Leading up to their next match against Team W, Isagi begins to understand more and more about his impact on the field. As a naturally good player, he will draw defenders to him, so he must find a way to overcome his defenders in any situation. This begins to spark another idea within his head. He goes to the practice field, where Kunigami walks in to see the ball going into the back of the net, with Isagi leaning forward. In an almost awakened-like state, Isagi clutches his fist with a smile, saying that this was the weapon that he needs. Kunigami was curious, asking Isagi to show him. But Isagi stated, it's not like he would be able to see it. But why don't they have a 1v1 to test it out? Isagi then grabs the ball holding it, and then dashes forward with Kunigami defending. Isagi keeps him close on purpose, but dribbles around him, and makes it through him. He then makes the striker look like a child, and it's not like Kunigami could body off Isagi since they were about the same size here. Isagi then pushed him off, turning around and spinning for a shot. While watching him shoot, Kunigami states that he's just going to block it with his chest, only for him to hear a loud crack and the ball rolling against the net. He then turns back, seeing it in the goal, and then back to Isagi, who was walking away out of the practice field room. Thanks for the practice, but I think I need to do it in a real match. With the next match soon beginning, Isagi stands at the center of the field looking ahead. So this was Team W. They're not too impressive when looking at them, but those two twins, they do get his attention. And since he's already scored so many goals, Isagi knows that he had theirs. So when the game begins, he passes it off to the right, and he runs ahead, making them both guard him. Then another defender comes, making it impossible for him to get open, or so it seems. The twins then begin to talk trash, until he runs back to receive a pass from Kira, while he turns with the ball, with one of them now being behind him, and another, or two more, in his path. They state that they can't go around him, and Isagi laughs, lifting his head and showing off his METAVISON, stating he'll just go right through him. He passes it back to Kira, who instantly lobs the ball over their heads so that Isagi can break through them and trap it. The two twins then shout for their team to defend, and even Kuon appears in the way of his shot, as Yoichi tells him to pass it to Batra or Chigiri, who are open on the wings, but Isagi states that's not his job. A loud crack is then heard, as the ball flies right by their heads and into the net. Isagi holds up his fist. This is what I was missing. A true shooting technique, which is the evolution of my direct shot. This is my new direct outburst. And with this, he doesn't need a pass to increase the power of his shot. Isagi can focus 100% of his shooting strength on the ball to create an outburst in speed and power, but the accuracy is lowered. However, to counter the loss in accuracy, Isagi is able to use METAVISON to actually negate it and increase his accuracy when he shoots it, depending on his position. And with this shot, Jinpachi Ego smiles while watching on the screen. So that was your plan. Very interesting. You surely are a very polished gem, Yoichi Isagi. With Kuon's intentions and now revealed, Team Z was on high alert. But it wouldn't matter here, as Kira was able to awaken his own spatial awareness of the field, which allowed more creative passes to be flushed out throughout this match. Isagi began ramping up his intensity at which he played, not holding back at all, showing off his METAVISON and his other weapons, with the Wanima twins trying to come up with any way to stop him, but they just can't at all. Just what could they do? Kuon then takes over, man-marking Isagi, cutting off his passes. He believes that this was the only way to defeat him, so he continues to do so, which gains his new team one goal from it, tying up the game again. But Isagi didn't really care for any of that. When the game resumes play, Isagi makes him fall to the ground because of his strength. Now that he was open, Bachira was able to pass, leading to more goals from Isagi. No matter what they tried to do, it just seemed like they couldn't stop him. I think Kuon will get embarrassed here time and time again, with Isagi learning how to truly adapt to being defended so heavily. And he's able to do a lot more things. As for the goals that he scores in this game, they come from off-ball movement and quick shooting, as he doesn't even look at the ball when it's being passed to him. He just knows that it's coming his way. He can feel it. It's a different type of sense, almost like a goal sense. And they don't just come from that. He takes dribbles and breaks down defenders to score more goals. And as for the rest of Team Z, players like Yoichi, Kunigami, Chigiri, Kira, and Bachira also do shine due to their own skills, as it's not like they don't exist here because of Isagi and how strong he is. In fact, they actually seem a lot stronger than they would in canon because of him. With Yoichi becoming a more serious one-on-one defender, Kunigami increasing his shot range, Chigiri upgrading his own stamina and his burst and speed, and Bachira and his monster becoming even more of a crazy duo. But Kira was a little different, in that he was watching Isagi closely to learn from him, taking some of his attributes on for himself. And he would see that through his own spatial awareness, but his would be a little different than the one that Isagi gained in the original story, as Kira would be able to see the path to a goal for others instead of himself, being able to predict how he should pass it to them, making him sort of the ultimate midfielder in a way. As at the end of it all, it's of course another win for Team Z, who will currently be undefeated, as Isagi goes to the dining hall, where he sees Kuon trying to sell out their team once again to Ryo and Nagi, as well as Zantetsu. Isagi just walks by them, not caring at all, with Ryo actually being the one to speak up, asking if Isagi thinks he's better than Nagi. Our protagonist chuckles, saying he doesn't think that, he actually knows it for a fact. And with that, a declaration of war happened between the two prodigies. Team Z does their own research on their final opponents, wondering what their team would be like, and it seems that they play through their top 3 dogs on the team. Zantetsu with his speed, Ryo with his passes and all-around skills, and Nagi, who had the most goals through his trapping techniques. Isagi, while sitting down and watching, states that none of this matters, and they'll win no matter what. Those 3 don't yet have the drive to become the best, especially Seishiro. Isagi then walks out of the room, noting that this match will be just like the rest. He then heads to the weight room, and someone actually joins him, that being Kunigami. As Isagi zones out, saying to himself, "More. I need more. More than I have now, so that I can become the very best." The match soon arrives, as Team V starts with the ball going on to their own attack. Zantetsu and Ryo are able to maneuver around Team Z, getting the ball to their own prodigy. This is where Yoichi and Kunigami defend, actually stopping the shot attempt by cutting off his angles. Now, with possession, Team Z begins a counter that starts with Bachira dribbling the ball. Ryo is playing defense, but allows Bachira to get by, saying that they're quite interesting. The players then focus on Isagi, who receives a pass, with Zantetsu right behind him. Isagi then stops, turning and flicking the ball over his head, heading in the opposite direction, which leads to the first goal of the match, where Isagi walks off like it was nothing, and Ryo wonders why he was so strong, but on the worst ranked team. But he doesn't try to go into details. Instead, the two teams just go back and forth trading goals. Nagi finds all of this to be a drag, because whenever he scores, it seems like Isagi comes back and scores with a goal of his own, which was more spectacular. And with the clock slowly winding down, both teams knew that they had to stop the other's prodigy. Nagi also began to awaken throughout this match, competing with Isagi, because this was the first time where he felt like he could truly lose. Although with him not being fully ready to awaken, Isagi took advantage of this, tapping into a higher level of play. While using METAVISON for the second half of the match, Isagi completely destroys Ryo and Zantetsu, as those two, well, they could do nothing to stop him, especially with Kira and Bachira alongside him as outlets to pass to. Isagi was able to dribble around Ryo, outspeed Zantetsu, and even trap the ball around defenders. With his shooting ability now off the charts, I think his new direct outburst technique would prove to be very useful, as this would be an amazing match between the two teams, but I think Seishiro's awakening would happen a bit late in this game, so their loss would be inevitable, meaning that now the first selection of Blue Lock was complete, as now the team would do their intense training for 10 days to push themselves to their very limits, and with Isagi focusing on his endurance and strength, as well as his football IQ, meaning that this training will be very beneficial to his METAVISON as well as his physical attributes, which would lead to the second stage of Blue Lock, where, before heading into the shooting drill, they watch as Itoshi Rin performs his signature move, letting the two curved shots connect in the room, making a loud sound and impression on the rest of everyone else. But as he heads in, all you can hear is the loud crack of the direct outburst slamming into the wall, leaving a sort of mark, as we see Isagi head in right after him. And there isn't much to go over, besides Isagi passing through this drill very quickly, heading into another room, where he now stands across from the person who entered before him. Itoshi Rin and Yoichi Isagi then make eye contact for the very first time. With their auras now clashing, we don't know who would make the first move,